Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to AFTV and the Invincible podcast. I'm Marty, your host today, substituting in for Robbie, who is sunning himself again. So you guys have been left with me as your host by default. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Please like, please drop a comment in the comments section, and please check out all of AFTV's other content. Now I am going to introduce to you the main man himself, the judge, the jury, the executioner. This guy has been jet two'd. He is prime time Channel 5 with his new mate Tom Reed Wilson. Let me introduce to you, ladies and gentlemen, Lee the Judge Judges.
Wow, what can you say? What can you say about that? Thank you
And
very much.
also looking absolutely fantastic in your Arsenal merchandise.
Yes.
I must say I do love that hoodie you are repping out today.
Yeah, it's a nice one. This is, I'll tell you, like it's last year's one, like you know what I mean. It's just smooth. It's nice, like you know. Like the colour. Do you like the colour?
It's that's what I said, baby blue. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's nice.
I think the pastel.
Miami Vice.
I like that.
Lee, I think the pastel colours really work your complexion
personality,
really well, and they do, yeah, definitely. And on that note, introducing next, we have a fine gentleman who is substituting me in for me. So we've got Matt in for me, and I'm in for Robbie. Listen, this guy lights up Instagram. He is a social media legend. There isn't anything that this guy doesn't know related to Arsenal Football Club between 2011 through to the current day. His knowledge is insane. It is Matt Papa Pincus.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Martin.
mate,
Thank you.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you for being here. So, guys, also, are you protected like David Raya is from the wall in front of him? Guys, NordVPN is the best in the business and will protect you from a variety of internet-based situations. So, get involved, sign up. You know it makes sense.
Saturday, 3 o'clock. What have I got to watch? Gardening shows. Yeah.
Yo, Rob, you watching this game? Bro, Eze's on fire.
How are you watching that? You can't watch 3 o'clock games in the UK.
Bro, what do you mean? I'm watching the full game now live.
How though? You're not abroad?
No, bro, with NordVPN, my laptop thinks I am, but with one click, boom, I'm on holiday.
Are you serious? I'm here watching someone plant potatoes, and you're watching Eze tearing it up.
No, I ain't having that.
I'm only joking with you. You know we can't do that in the UK. But if I wanted to, it would work perfectly. Bro, whether it's football, soaps, you know what I mean, Love Island when we're away, you know what I mean, all those things, whatever your family's into, NordVPN's got you covered. And with Threat Protection Pro, there's none of that cyber nonsense, no scammers, none of that, just smooth streaming. So hurry up and get involved, bro. Come on, you're missing out.
All right, I'm convinced. I'm signing up right now. Go to NordVPN/AFTV for an exclusive deal.
And
Martin or Marty?
Marty.
I'm going to call you Martin.
Martin.
Is that just to annoy me? Or?
Well, I actually call him Smarty Marty. Like,
Yes.
You know what I mean? So,
Do you know what?
Hold on, before we start here, like, you know what I mean? He's away again, right?
Yeah, I know, Lee.
He's away again, and I guarantee you, he'll slip it in like, oh, it's work, right? It's work, right? I'm working, right? He's gone to Egypt. But when I see him, he's never working. He's like champagne, boats, yachts, sunglasses on.
On the camel.
He does everything but work.
Loves
so
it.
I don't believe it when he says that he's...
So there's us here holding up the fort. We're not just watching Arsenal, we're living and breathing it. And, you know, good luck to Robbie. Well done, Robbie, for enjoying yet another holiday.
Yeah.
You know, and...
I'd never go away. And he's also doubtful that he can get here for the Crystal Palace game on Sunday.
Oh, that's a bit of a
Really?
disgrace.
Totally. It's a disgrace, man.
That's a disgrace.
It's a disgrace.
I wouldn't have it.
Although he works hard, Robbie, he deserves
He
the
does.
holiday.
He does.
But he has five a month. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, I love it. So, look, guys, we're going to go into and talk about. We've got to talk about the absolutely fantastic result against Atletico Madrid in the Champions League on Tuesday night under the lights at the Emirates. What a game that was, and our defensive prowess showing through the wall.
I can see you still ain't got over it, all the shouting and all that. Like, you know
No, do you know what? I've actually lost my voice from Tuesday
Is that from
night.
that game?
That is from the game, legitimately.
I don't blame you.
I'll be honest with you, right? And I did a fan cam afterwards, and I was kind of almost delirious, just due to the excitement. That second, well, the first half, we strangled them, we suffocated them, we were all over them. We were like a python, just strangling them, and they just couldn't do anything. In the second half, champagne football was released, and we ripped the handbrake out and just battered them. And you know what? With the guys I sit next to, and this is what I love about football, and I have Mr. Lee Judges up in club level behind me,
Quality, innit?
giving it large with his glass of champagne at
Padded
half time,
seats.
and he comes out with about 80 programmes. And do you know what? I was just sitting, we were just watching the goals going in, and I love, obviously I love Arsenal and I love football, and the shouting and screaming, and I lost my voice through it, and I literally woke up this morning and I couldn't literally speak, and I thought, how am I actually going to talk and do this? But we're getting there, and I'm going to try and nurse it back to health. So that will leave you two the floor to talk about it. I'm going to come to you, Matt, and talk to me about that game and that night. And you know, you've seen, obviously, you're probably Arsenal in its worst period, like from 20, you know, we were talking off air beforehand, and you were talking about your period of time that you really remember, and I know your football knowledge is fantastic from 2011 onwards to now. This must be right here, right now, the best Arsenal side that you have seen ever.
What did I say to you? Literally, we bumped into each other at the station. First thing I said to you is, I have never felt like this as an Arsenal fan in my life. I've never, like you say, I grew up on Gervinho, no disrespect to any of these players that I'm naming, but, you know, Gervinhos and De Giroux and all. And, you know, that was what I knew. I'm now at a point where I'm not even joking. On Tuesday night, I swear to you, I was fuming / gutted when they had a shot on target. I thought, oh my God. Now we've actually we've conceded a shot on target. That's the level that it's got to. And it was such a statement performance to go out and batter Atletico Madrid, Diego Simeone, who, you know, teams hardly ever put one past them or two past them. How many did we score? How long did 13 minutes?
4 goals in 13 minutes.
4 goals in 13 minutes. Our team is so strong and so together. That's the main thing I got from that game. There was such a togetherness. I was sat right behind the bench, and after every goal, everyone on the bench is hugging, high-fiving, smiles. It just looks like we're having such a good time at the moment. And I'm really trying to take it in. I did take it in that night.
So, you know, 4 goals in 13 minutes, that's like an avalanche of goals, right? Lee, we were talking off air about this, and I said it. And funnily enough, off the back of a video that I saw you do on Instagram, Matt, and I kind of said this at the beginning of the season as well. I'm very aware right here, right now, to enjoy this laughable bit about Arsenal. Oh, trust the process, and they're like, well, the process is 6 years in. I want to see something. But what I see this season, and listen, I'm not running too far ahead. Listen, we need to go and win it, and I don't care whether we do it 1-0 every game or 4-0 would be fantastic, and those results. But enjoying this part of the process, i.e. not to get too carried away on the destination of where we're going to be at the end of the season, which is hugely important, but also enjoying watching these games like Tuesday night. Probably, bar the Real Madrid game last season, definitely my favourite second half of football that I've seen this club play, I think, in that stadium. It was... it's just something else. Lee, and I just want to come to you. You were talking about the Invincible. Tell me that story. I want you to tell everyone that story that you were saying about Portsmouth and the Invincibles.
Yeah, like, you know, it's funny. it's a funny thing really, because you say you've got to enjoy it, but it's difficult to enjoy as a fan. It's difficult to enjoy. The story I said is like my dad after the Portsmouth game. You know, like, yeah, rubbish, you're not going to win anything with this team, like, you know what I mean, not good enough, you know what I mean, blah, blah, blah. Just, you know, not good enough, like, you know what I mean, like, you know, can't play like that. You ain't going to win the league playing like that, forget about it. It was probably about 3 months later, my dad turned around to me and said, I don't think we really appreciate how good this team is, like, you know what I mean, and that sums it all up, really, like, you know what I mean. There's games when you go through it and you're not as good as what you think you are, or you're not as bad as what you think you are.
Yeah.
And like, I look at it, how I look at it, two things, and Matt makes a brilliant point about team spirit and all that. I always say, and this is an important thing, when Arsenal scored, when they're in their pomp and all that, look at the bench, see how the bench are. And if they're all jumping up and that, and you have a look at other benches and other teams and all that, you sit there and there's miserable faces and all that, that tells you a lot. So if you've got everybody on side, and that is the most difficult thing to do. Forget about the 11 that are on there; they're enjoying themselves, they're starting. It's what's happening on the bench. But as you say, they're all. Go back to the Gyökeres goal he scores. The subs are all joining in with the celebrations and all that. So that's a big thing. So it shows that team spirit's very, very good at Arsenal. That is what you need. But you know, for me, as great as it is now, it goes on to the next game. You know what I mean, like. Crystal Palace, got to win that game. You've got to beat Hull and you've got to beat Sunderland. I'm not where you guys are at this moment in time. If we win these next 3 league games, I will be.
Yeah. Really? Is that what it's going to take, yeah?
Yeah, because I think how I look at it, seen us win titles before, seen us not win titles before, right?
Yeah.
And the games that define whether you win titles or we don't are these next 3 games coming up.
It's interesting you say that, because again we were talking 2001, 2002. I remember early on in the season we played Charlton at home and we lost 4-1. We got whitewashed. We got battered, you know, by them. And obviously then we went on to, we know what happened in that season. And obviously I'm not seeing that this season. I mean, we lost to Liverpool. It's the only game we've lost. 1 of 3 goals we've conceded this season. We haven't conceded a goal in the Champions League since last season against PSG, who just battered a team on Tuesday night 7-2. And do you know what? When I look, it's like you're saying, and I want to get your perspective, Lee, because today what we're talking about is where this team really is. Are we building towards something unstoppable, or still a work in progress? Because what I look at this, when I look at this team, right, I do think if we get it over the line this season, however that be, potentially, as long as all the pieces stay in place, and on that note, what an absolute legend Andrea Berta is, right? Since he's been at this club, I think we've just gone to a completely different level, right? Yes, we need to get the job done, but I think we could be in for a period of time. And I know I don't want to go too far ahead and we've got to win it and let's ground ourselves. But I'm going to be excited. I'm a football fan. I love football. We could be building like real dynasty stuff here. And you know how you saw like Man City go on their period of run of success. Manchester United did it in the early 90s, in the 90s to 2000s. We've done it before. We did it in the 90s and the 2000s. You know, these teams, that's what I'm kind of seeing, my experience around football. And when I see these teams being built, you know, like the back four we had in the early 90s, we had that in place. And then you start adding players like Anders Limpar, Ian Wrights. And then you go into the Wenger era, you start adding Vieiras and Henrys and all that. And then you go and dominate. Where do you think, realistically, Lee, we're at?
Well, that's a great question. I think, like, for me at this moment in time, Arsenal, how I see it, Arsenal are Arsenal with baggage at the moment. You know, like as a saying, like baggage. The baggage is that we've not got over the line and there's been chances to do it and whatever. I do see similarities to the 91 team with the defence and things like that. And I feel confident with our defence and all that. But at this moment in time, I'm not going to get overjoyed of it because I don't know if there is that defeat against Hull, defeat against Sunderland, that baggage, what we've had before in the past. And that's what I've got to see. I've got to see a different Arsenal team now where they go away from home, to teams that they're expected to win and win. You know what I mean? Like, let's be honest about it. You're playing Hull and Sunderland, two tough teams. Not Hull and Sunderland, Burnley and Sunderland.
Yeah.
Like, you know, they're difficult games. They're difficult games. But if you're going to win the league, you've got to win there. Like, you know, and do I think Arsenal will? Yeah, I do think that they will. But they've got to. At this moment in time, they've still got a lot of to prove. Get rid of that baggage.
Yeah.
And that's how I see it at this moment in time. I think these next 3 games will tell us a lot. And I always say that, you know, I'll go, you know, look, you can play Man City, you can play the top teams, you can play Man City, you can play Liverpool, fine lines.
Yeah.
Anything can happen in the game like that. Poor decision, you know, a wonder goal like it did at Liverpool, blah, blah, blah. But these games now, these 9 points, I think are so vital to where we want to go. Not just for us, but for the other teams playing.
You look at the last 3 seasons, it's the lesser sides
that
have ruined it for
Yeah,
us.
yeah.
We were saying before, 23-24, Christmas time, we lost West Ham at home, Fulham away. 2 games we were expected to win, 2 games that we won this season.
Yeah.
But that is ultimately what cost us. And Villa at home. That's 3 games expected to win.
Yeah, and you'd have won if you'd have won all those games. You know, it's unbelievable to go and say that you've done that. What the run that we had, but if we do win them, we win the league by about 4 or 5 points. That's where it's so important. That's why these 9 points are at that. Listen, I say this now. Anybody thinking that Sunderland away is going to be a struggle in the park? No. It's going to be a tough game. That's where your credentials of a title are. Can you go up to a place like that that's hostile at the moment on a wave of good feeling because they've come up from the...
I think they've won every game there this season.
They've done fantastic well. They come through the playoffs. You imagine they've all of that coming through. You go up there, that's when your defence has got to defend properly.
Yeah.
Your midfield's got to do well, and your strikers take their chances. Now, if Arsenal come away with there with a 3-0 win, say, you go, wow, this is where we are. And I think that we're in that early stages of that. And when people go, what do you mean early stages? Because what was happening? Listen, I personally think Arsenal at this moment in time are the best team in the league. The best team. What you have to do then is show that you're the best team.
Yeah.
Right, you know what I mean? I believe when we was chasing Man City, you know, like we had a fantastic run of, like, we dropped 5 points that season.
Yep.
2 to at the back end after that Fulham game. 2 to Man City.
Yep.
3 to Aston Villa.
Yeah.
Manchester City dropped 2 against us.
Yep.
So in theory, they went on won the treble. I think they were a better team than us that season. Like, you know what I mean? Last season, injuries and whatever, Liverpool were a better team. This season, it's all like for us. And with that comes the pressure. Can you handle it?
Yeah.
And that is what Arsenal have not proved yet. We've talked about, these players going to be this and that. I watched them at Fulham. They can handle it. There was pressure on that game when they went and done it, like. But the pressure's going to get bit unless you keep winning, and then take the pressure off by winning at Hull. I keep saying Hull.
What with you and
I don't know. Like, I think, like, you know, because
Hull, I've
got a finger with Hull at the moment. I don't know why that is. Burnley, because I don't want to dig yourself a hole, like, you know what I mean. But like Burnley is like, we went there. Burnley last time I went to Burnley, we went there and won 6-0, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, can we do that again? It's a different thing, but like, I'd love to go up there and put it on there. We won't, because it'd be a tough game. Sunderland go and win that game there. You know, people are even saying, like, Crystal Palace is a tough game and all that. Like, it's a tough game. Of course it is. Drop points against them last season.
Yep.
So you've got to go there, and I get this thing when everybody's at this moment in turning round, and I will say this. They're going around saying, we've gained 3 points here because against Fulham with that. We've also dropped 2 points against Man City. We beat Man City last season. We also drew at Liverpool. So that can happen.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, like, Crystal Palace at home, you've got to go there and win. And if you come away with a draw or you know, or there will be that baggage is still getting harder and heavier. Like, you know, you've got to lighten that baggage.
Oh, listen, we'll come on to the actual sort of, I suppose, the preview of the Crystal Palace game. We'll talk about that shortly. But I just want to quickly just go into that you were talking about, Lee, and ask you, Matt, because the Crystal Palace result last season, 2-2, as you said, and obviously the West Ham games we've turned those around. You said about the Liverpool and the City games. Now, the Crystal Palace game, we go and beat them. They are a legitimate outfit. We see what happened at Bournemouth, and they could have nicked that at the end. And they are, I would say, on paper and physically, a better team than the others. But going and beating Sunderland and Burnley, right, is that not just another, for other fans to turn around and say, well, it's only Sunderland and Burnley?
Who cares?
No, I know, I get it, but I'm asking a question. I mean, but when do you reckon? I suppose essentially when we win the title. But from what I'm seeing, like on Tuesday night, that definitely cemented against Fulham. Like Arsenal have found for me 2 ways of winning. We saw it against Manchester United early on this season. You know, that like ugly football where we're just grinding out results. We're not playing that well. We're not even conceding shots on target, but we're just slightly disjointed. We did it against Athletic Club in the Champions League, but then we get the result. We just nick a goal, whether it's through a set piece, whether it's through an open play goal, or we get this champagne football. We saw it against Forest, we saw it against Leeds, we saw it on Tuesday night, and I love seeing that. Ultimately, we're not conceding. What do you think, Matt? What do you think? When do you reckon it will be the point in the season? Or has it already happened? When other teams really, and other fans look at this Arsenal side and take them seriously?
I think the world's taking them seriously now. That Tuesday night, I saw a lot of content creators that are usually quite harsh on Arsenal, and pundits as well. And they, what can you actually say? I don't think there's a team in the world, barring maybe Real Madrid and maybe PSG, that wouldn't swap their position for Arsenal's in terms of squad depth, psychological side of things. Everyone in the squad seems to be happy. There's not too many egos going on there. Financial situation's brilliant. The fans are everything right now. What's the date? October 20, whatever. Everything right now is perfect with Arsenal. And we know it's obviously peaks and valleys, but at this current moment, I don't think there's anything anyone can say to discredit how Arsenal are doing. It's like you were saying before, it's we've got that baggage in terms of mentality. We're not going to know, like you say, until May if they've got that in them. But these players are unbelievable at football. No one is disputing that. What people might dispute, and what is fair enough to dispute, is do we have the bollocks? Can I swear?
Yeah.
We have the bollocks to get it over the line?
No, go for it.
Do we have that? Do we have the cojones? I'll say
cojones,
because I wasn't there when we were winning everything. You both were, and you knew what it felt like at that time. So I can't relate, but I know what I see, and I see an unbelievable Arsenal team that are going into every single game.
Matt, and the thing is, like, as an Arsenal fan at this moment in time, we've seen it before and all that, but and I'll stress to any Arsenal fan at this moment in time, enjoy Tuesday night. They don't come along too often, those sort of games. Those games don't come along too often. Tuesday night, listen, Atletico Madrid are a proper outfit. Proper outfit at the end of the day, you know what I mean? Proper
Simeone team
that's week in, week out. They're in the Champions League 9 times out of 10, you know, and they've got a manager that knows what he's doing. As a manager there at the end of the day was crestfallen. You know what I mean? He's a fiery character. There was no fire in his belly. He'd gone. We'd put out the flames, and he'd gone. He walked straight down the tunnel. Didn't even go and say thanks to their fans or whatever, who were fantastic on the night, because he was humbled. He was done, and so that is so enjoy that. Take it on there. The rival fans and all that, like, great, you know what I mean? Like, I always look at that, like, you know, when I go, right, like, my old Spurs mates would turn the telly off and out 3-0, like, because if it was us, we'd be doing the same. And we'd be doing the same if it was another team going, well, you know, they've got to hold on to something, like, you know, and the hold on at the minute is, they'll mess it up somewhere along the line, like, you know, and they've got that hope. But at this moment in time, you've got to prove them wrong. I look at our team now, and I look at players like, let's just go through. Just mention the spine. The spine that won the last time we won the league, the Invincibles. You had a goalkeeper in Lehman, Sol Campbell, Vieira, Omri. Right. What we've got now is we've got Raya, if you want to put Saliba or Gabriel in that, Rice, Gyökeres.
Timber.
Like, you know what I mean?
I just mentioned Timber.
You had those around there, like, you know. What I'm saying is, there's still, I would say, that spine of the Invincibles is better than the spine that we've got now. You know what I mean? Like, but not a lot in it, and that's what you've got to go from. Like, you know, I see similarities between Rice and Vieira. I see similarities between Gabriel and Sol Campbell. The goalkeeper, I would actually say Raya is tipping it now. Like, you know, but. You know, well, don't forget when Lehmann first come into it, he's only probably played 9 games now, because he come in at, you know what I mean, like first season, like, you know what I mean. I was never convinced on Lehmann, by the way.
Really?
Lovely guy. I met him once on going at Forest in the services, like top guy. But he was
KG?
He had his fault, like, he wind people up and all that. I loved him, you know what I mean? Like,
Do you know what goalkeepers I think as a
well,
breed-
you'd done more.
Yeah, no, they are. They're out there, and we saw it on Tuesday night with David Raya, and it's very similar to Manuel Neuer. And I remember watching Manuel Neuer, you know, a goalkeeper that I loved watching. Fantastic, probably one of the best ever. And the thing with Manuel Neuer is what he doing. I'm starting to see this with David Raya, is where they literally have nothing to do. And I get it. I'd be lying if I said, no, obviously I haven't played anywhere near that level. But as a goalkeeper, it's a lonely position, because you're the only one that can, you know, it's a completely different position.
It's the loneliest job in football,
Yeah, because listen, as a goalkeeper, if you make a mistake, 98% of the time it's in the back of the net.
Yeah.
If you make a mistake as a defender, 60% of the time. You make a mistake as a midfielder, 40% of the time it might lead to a, you know, as a striker, listen, you miss shots. That's what they're there to do. You know, you're not as hammered as a goalkeeper fumbles something. It's in the back of the net 9 times out of 10 plus. Yeah. And so it's a lonely position, and obviously it's a mentality position. But what I'm seeing with Lehmann and what Neuer used to do is he would literally have nothing to do all game, and like that, he just had this moment of madness. It was like he just wanted to be involved with the game. So he goes out and he tackles the player by the touchline.
Yeah.
But which is just because he wanted to be involved. Listen, the guy ain't faced a shot on target, and that's as a goalkeeper. That's what
That
you
was
do.
on target. That was a goal, by the way.
I thought it was in.
Yeah, I get that. It was. Listen, I'm not saying it's risque, 100%, but that's just that. It's that moment. It's that moment of madness. We saw him do it. I think it was against last season against West Ham.
Yeah.
Against Bowen,
He
he steamed out the area, got in front of him, and it was a joke to him.
Ward-Prowse.
The Ward-Prowse. That's it. You get that wrong, you're in trouble. Like the player turns you, bang, over. It's in the back of the net. But goalkeepers do have that. Lehmann had that. I remember there was who was it? I can't remember. Was it not Roy Keane, when they touched each other and then Lehmann falls down, and Lehmann could, you know, do that sort of stuff and be slightly calamitous. I think the goalkeeper that was less prone to that I've seen over years is probably David Seaman.
Just talking about Lehmann, I'll never forgive him.
Go on.
For the shenanigans.
Yeah.
At White Hart Lane when we was winning.
Yeah.
And they give away a penalty in the last kick of the game, and we ended up drawing the game. Still won the league. But I always look back at that.
Yeah.
With, you know, we should have won at Spurs.
Wow,
actually.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I know we won the league there, and it was a draw.
Does that actually hurt that we didn't win the game?
Yeah, for me, it always a little bit of a bugbear for me.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, and Lehmann, like, because we was 2-0 up. You know what I mean? Like,
Won the league at White Hart Lane.
there was that to it. It was that there, but it was just something. You know, like Lehmann messed up that day, like, you know what I mean, with his shenanigans, didn't he? Like, give away a penalty, and they scored. Look, in a way, it was quite good because they all started celebrating the draw. Yeah. Right, but we'd won the league. You know what I mean? Like, so it turned out to be all right. But I always. I enjoyed it, but I didn't enjoy it as much as I probably should have done because we didn't win the game.
Right, so I'm going to quickly just go back to that game because it was, I think, 1-0 and Simeone makes 3 subs, right?
Yeah.
And I remember sitting next to the guy sitting next to Gel, big up to him, by the way, amazing guy. And that's also what I love about football, friends at football, you know, like you sit above for me and when the goal goes in and that camaraderie and that fun. Now, when Simeone threw the dice at it and made those changes, and I turned around to him and said, do you know what, this could go either horribly wrong for him or it could go horribly right for him. And are there any changes? You know, those changes in football, you know, do change outcomes hugely. Is there anything that you two would change with this current Arsenal side? Coming to you first, Matt. And why?
Honestly, I haven't really given that much thought. Do you know what? We're sat here with 3 microphones. I'm going to leave it up to the geezer that's paid millions of pounds a year to do those changes. I trust everything that he does.
No, what would you do if you could? Is there anything right here, right now? Because the reason why I ask this question is obviously at the beginning of the season, a lot of people were like, we need to change this manager. You know, to get us over the line. Obviously, when Madueke came in, he's the wrong signing. Is there anything now? We're sort of 12 games into this season, which I think's a substantial enough of a period to give that evaluation.
I'd give Lewis Skelly more minutes.
Okay, good. Okay.
I'd give Miles Lewis. I think he deserves more minutes.
Yeah, why?
I think Calafiori's been brilliant. No one's disputing that. But I don't want, and I don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but I don't want Lewis Skelly to feel like, because he was unbelievable against Atletico.
Yeah.
And he's probably going to be sat on the bench Sunday afternoon. I don't want that to hurt him because he deserves minutes. He's an unbelievable footballer. And yeah, he's young. We've got to take care of him, but we've also got to reward him for his excellence. You know, how is he going to feel if he's having an absolute masterclass on the biggest stage in football, which he did, and then sitting on the bench again? What does he have to do to get more minutes? Does he have to pray that his teammate and friend gets injured for him to get more minutes? I'm sure he'd rather not do that. So I think with Lewis Skelly, he's one to look at, and I think that might be the only headache that Arteta might not like in terms of how do I keep Lewis Skelly happy.
I think,
you know.
I think naturally, I think it's a really good point actually, and I've thought about this, and I think the thing with that is, I think Lewis Skelly will, as the season goes on, naturally, like we saw it, we had a quick turnaround. It's a 5:30 kickoff on Saturday, and then obviously the 8 o'clock on Tuesday, whereas we're playing Palace, and Palace are playing on Thursday night at 8 o'clock. So, and then they're playing us on Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock. So they've got a really quick turnaround on theirs. Now, it's Lewis Skelly being played in the Champions League. What a great sub to have. For Calafiori, because you need that, and also obviously Calafiori last season there was some injury, you know, and the season before, you know, so I think naturally Lewis Skelly's going to get played a lot more, and what I love seeing is these guys taking their chances when they get the opportunity. Lee, I'm going to ask you the same question.
Listen, I think like come Tuesday night, I think that Tuesday night for me was a massive thing for Arteta. Massive game. Because you look at Simone, he is one of the main guys in, you know, you'd put him up there, wouldn't you, as top coach, you know what I mean? But he out-tactical him. He done him. He went with a pivot in the first half, as you say. I didn't think it was a great game to watch, but tactically it was fantastic. Second half, he tinkered with it a little bit.
Handbrake off.
Got Rice going a little bit more forward, box to box, and the game changed so much. We get the goal, he then makes his substitutions, and we rip them apart. You know, so at the end of it, that's a big tick in his box there. Like, you know, I just think at the end of the day, I'm at this position with Arteta when people go handbrake off or all that. Like, I think that he's got to do. Listen, he's done that. There was a cause that we were saying earlier. He could have put Marino in that position. He didn't. He went with Eze. Newcastle was if Arsenal go and do anything this season, we'll look back at that Newcastle game. 1-0 down. He was brave with his team selection. We played so well that day, and we was 1-0 down. I don't know how, but we turned it around because he was brave. So he's got to be brave at the right times, cautious at other times. I won't change nothing at this moment in time.
Let me ask you, because you were very complimentary of Martinelli. Should he be starting on Sunday?
Listen, I think it's a great question. You know what I mean? Like, I'll answer it, but answering it with the Lewis Skelly and Calafiori one, right? I look at that and I think Calafiori's been outstanding this season. Like, you know what I mean? Miles Lewis-Skelly coming outstanding. I feel that he will play Calafiori on Saturday. Sunday. I feel on the left hand, that left hand side, I don't think Trossard has done what Miles Skelly has done or Calafiori. I think they've been at a level. I think he's done okay, but okay ain't good enough in this football team no more. Can we get that right? You know, okay doesn't guarantee you a spot, which it might have done last season, the season before. You've got to put in the performances like Calafiori has, and then if you're being rotated and coming in, you've got to put that performance in that Miles Lewis-Skelly did. I think Martinelli put in a performance on Tuesday night that I haven't seen the levels of Eze when he's played out there or Trossard. But I think that he will go with Trossard again, you know what I mean? I do.
LA.
But I love LA. But I would go with personally. I would go with Martinelli.
So would I. But then it's the same thing with Lewis-Skelly. It's Martinelli will be thinking if he's sat on that bench on Sunday, what more can I do to be starting? You know, I got a goal and an assist. Did he get an assist? I think he might have got a pre-assist.
Well, pre-assist.
But he was unbelievable. Barring the goal and the pre-assist, he was unbelievable. He's running his socks off. He looked like someone that was starving to start and starving to score. And managing egos and managing so many different quality players,
that's the test. That's the test, mate.
But then what's he got to do to start them?
Do you know what? Can I just say on this? All right, the one thing, right, that I think personally Mikel Arteta has got very right, which I think he's completely undervalued by a lot of people, and I think what we're seeing now with Arne Slot is his problem, okay, is because Arteta's brought every single one of these players, bar a couple, into this squad, okay, they know what's expected, and I believe Mikel Arteta is very clear. You know that disgruntled players being on the bench. I think that the egos wise, I think that is very well managed, and he explains. You know, they are all going to get their opportunities, and through our injury problems that we've had in previous seasons, I think all the players, it's quite obvious to see. You know, Martinelli, and one thing I will say, and big up to Gabriel Martinelli, because he had a lot of criticism from Arsenal fans, right? And this season he has scored some serious goals. Right? And that goal on Tuesday night, that ball, I remember watching it in front of me, and I'm like, it's wanting Lewis-Skelly, release the ball, release Martinelli, and he literally takes it to the last second where that ball can get released. He pops it into Martinelli, and he turns and clips it. And Oblak, getting that ball.
Top quality goalkeeper, by the way.
He is
one of the best ever.
It's an unbelievable finish.
Top goalkeeper, right? And that ball goes anywhere. He got a fingertip to that, right? So that ball goes slightly further out. It hits the post and goes out. Any further in, he gets a good enough hand on it. It's round the post. Yeah. That finish, and on the turn at that part, I saw it in front of me at lightning pace, and I was just like, wow. Yeah. Wow, what a goal. Like, Thierry Henry legitimately would have been proud of that. Like, that was a fantastic goal. And to see that, and I think these players really just understand that they're going to get their opportunities, but when they get their opportunities, to take them, I've seen a lot of players in the past, you know, sort of expect, it's like now, let's say for Liverpool, you've got Salah on the bench, because he hasn't been performing. Is he sitting there going, I should be playing because I'm Mo Salah, or being like, do you know what, I need to up my game, mate, because I'm a starter and I ain't been performing. I ain't been putting the ball in the back of the net, you know, and if he's got, you know, that ego of, I should be starting because that needs to be eliminated, because there's no player that's bigger than the club. And I think from what I'm seeing, Arteta's got that very right.
Listen, let's not kid ourselves. Every footballer, every player in that football
of course,
team
I get it,
has got an ego.
Yeah.
So you've got to be able to manage it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what Arteta does. He ain't going to put anything of it all, like, you know. I didn't like, do you remember when Trossard scored? I think it was against Aston Villa last season, like, you know, and he didn't celebrate and all that. I didn't like that. That's not a good look, like, you know what I mean? But, you know, he's come in and out this season, and Trossard's done well for us this season as well. Let's not get that wrong. Mourinho come in and done well. You know what I mean? But no one's sort of saying, "Oh, should he play?" And he should. Like, whoever plays got to come in. Like, what I think will happen, and this is where it's great for Arsenal. If Trossard comes in, he can't be okay. He's got to match what Martinelli's done, because if he doesn't match what Martinelli's done, then there's going to be question marks, right, on Arteta and why have you done that? And that means then that his level's got to go up, and that means that, you know, we should be able to beat teams like Crystal Palace because everybody's going up. I'm pretty sure that, you know, Calafiori sat there, watched that game, and he's thought, right, if I'm in on Sunday, I've got to be back to my best.
Yeah.
So it's all good.
That's what I mean.
It's all good things. You know, Zubimendi was, like, I think, outstanding and all that, like, you know.
He was.
But Norgard come in, I don't know if you noticed how well he done when he come in for that little cameo, like, you know. He's not had a look in at this moment in time. He'll be winning games.
And when you think, and I just quickly, like, Norgard, a captain of Brentford, right, coming in at the end of the game, like, These players like that are absolutely perfect. We've got Carabao Cup against Brighton next Wednesday. You know, the players that we can bring in, like Mosquera, Hincapié, you know, Norgard, to rest these players and still go with a team and look to get results.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah, it's a big thing. So who do you think he'll play on Saturday?
On Sunday, what
Sunday.
Palace?
Do you think he'll play Martinelli or...?
Martinelli's got a very good record against Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
I think he'll go Martinelli.
Okay.
And
What
I
about
think,
you,
I think
Mark?
that's the right decision.
I do think he'll go Martinelli. I think Calafiori starts. I'm going to come on to that Crystal Palace game just very quickly. I just want to wrap up sort of this segment just quickly. Obviously, this is Invincibles podcast. Just putting it out there, I do believe there might be a video coming out at some point, which you spoke about, Lee, about comparing this side to the Invincibles. Just as a quick standout, are there any players for you in this current squad right here, right now, how they're playing, that get into that Invincibles side?
There's definitely...
Go on, hit me with them.
Timber would definitely get in it.
Timber, yeah.
Gabriel-
Not Loren?
No, Timber.
I think personally they're very similar players. They're both players that, listen, you don't want to be up against them because they will kick you, pull
listen,
you.
I'll put
They're
Lauren in at the
physical.
moment because he's won things, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's the difference in there.
So who are you going, Lauren or Timber?
Timber.
Okay.
Right,
Like,
really?
Timber at the minute has just been like...
Okay.
Unbelievable.
Who else? Who else jumps out at you and like, do you know what? I fancy their chances in that Invincible side.
Saka would get in it.
Saka gets in it, yeah?
Without that.
Go on. What about Deckers?
Over GG.
It'd be definitely in the squad, Deckers.
Definitely.
Listen, Gilbert, like, you know, but you think, like, when you go on the squads and all that, like, I'd say there's 4 midfield players, central midfield players. You had Vieira, right, Gilberto, Edu, don't underestimate how good he was, and Ray Parlour. They were like unreal players. Ray Parlour was coming towards the end of his Arsenal career then, but still done a job of unbelievable thing. Flank-wise, you had Lundberg, who's underrated, in my opinion. Perez is probably one of the best footballers I've ever seen at Arsenal. Would have to get in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so...
What about the CBs?
How, yeah, right.
Yeah, well...
How similar?
Sol Campbell, I think, would hold off one.
How similar do you think? Because Sol Campbell was a bit of a set-piece merchant as well. The amount of times I'd see Sol Campbell fly into the box and, you know, head it home.
The biggest compliment I'll ever give Sol Campbell, and it ain't because he left Tottenham to go to Arsenal, the biggest compliment that man could have as a footballer coming to Arsenal was he replaced Tony Adams, and no one sort of said, "Oh, we miss Tony Adams," and Tony Adams was that good for Arsenal. Sol Campbell coming and replaced him, like, you know, and I think that shows you how good he was. Where I think Gabriel and Saliba have not replaced anybody of that ilk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they've been able to bed in.
Pablo Mari.
Well, there you go.
Mari.
Who was it, like, you know, David Luiz, you know what I mean? Like, come on, they've come in and, like, the standards, the bar weren't that high. And I've obviously done fantastic well. Sol Campbell, the bar was as high as it could possibly be. Right, when he come to that, you know, I mean, Arsenal hadn't won, he'd gone 3 years, like, bit like now, 3 years without winning the league, and he come in. I think he was like, I've got to say he was unbelievable. So I think he'd get in there.
Speaking of Invincibles, and you speak about Tony Adams and how good he was, and I remember like the 19.
He's not an Invincible, by the
Yeah,
way.
no, well, the 1990. No, I know, but the 1990-91 season, we nearly went Invincible. We lost 2-1 to Chelsea at the Bridge, and Tony Adams was
just come out of prison that day.
In prison. Oh, was it that day?
I think he come out that day, I think.
And that is the only reason.
Steve Bowl got injured in that game.
That's it.
David Illia had to go and play centre half.
Yep. And it's the only reason we lost that game. Otherwise, you would have seen. And that team was that good, legitimately. And because Tony Adams wasn't in it, we lost that game. And that was 2 goals that we conceded. I believe that season we conceded 18 goals.
18 goals. That's
and
unbelievable.
It would have been 16 if it hadn't been, if Tony Adams was there. I'd imagine, because Chelsea, that's no disrespect to Chelsea at that time. We beat them in a reverse fixture at Highbury 4-1. And they got steamrolled. They weren't good at all.
But Stamford Bridge is not the Stamford Bridge now.
Oh mate, Stamford Bridge.
It
had a sand car park.
They were building it, weren't it?
Yeah,
the players used to train in the car park. Like Ray Lewington, who I know, used to play for Chelsea, and that old story. And I said to him, "Is that true?" Did a podcast with him, and he went, "Yeah, no, they did. Chelsea used to train in the car park at the back of Stamford Bridge, and on a concrete floor as well. That's where it was at."
Chelsea, you know what I mean? You go back to the old days of Chelsea. Go and have some. There's a programme called. I urge anybody to watch it. Big Match Revisited. Go back and have a look at some of the grounds.
The pitch
and the pitches.
Oh,
unbelievable. And Chelsea was
Big Match Revisited. You know, I've watched a few of them. They're a great bit of nostalgia. So you see.
Chelsea, by the way, are in the 2nd division at the moment. Just get that out there.
Some of the tackles flying in on those. Unbelievable, honestly.
Just watch it like that. But
they weren't even bookings today. They're straight reds.
Seeing the grounds and all that, and Chelsea wasn't the great like that. Was a tough place to go, Chelsea, because it was open, and it weren't.
Compare it to a club now.
Oh,
what Chelsea's ground?
Leyton Orient, or not
really?
What's an open?
Oxford.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Stamford Bridge back then was.
It just had one big shed.
Was Chelsea not a nice area back then, though?
Yeah, it's always been a nice area.
The worst thing about Chelsea was their ground.
Yeah.
Really?
You know, if you ever go around Chelsea, it's like, well, sure, you know what Chelsea is. It's gorgeous. But their ground weren't the best, and it just had this big shed stand in the middle. Did
that not change until Abramovich? Sorry,
it changed before that. It changed when the Premier League started coming in.
It changed Matthew Harding and stuff like that. You know, on that note, and this is again, I'm not disrespecting any other clubs, but you know, it's like now it's like the Man City thing. I remember watching Man City as like a championship or I'd say Division 2 side or a League 1 side. You know, that's just how. It was like all of these teams, like the Premier League was. You see a lot of these teams now that were like staple of the Premier League. They're now in League 1. You know, the league, the Championship and League 1 is filled. You know, likes of Coventry, they were, etc. Those divisions are filled with teams.
Grounds changed.
They do. Football changes.
The Premier League, the all-seater thing when after the unfortunate events at Hillsborough. Stadiums had to change, and
that was a semi-final stadium. Hillsborough was a semi-final. They used to play FA Cup semi-finals at Villa Park, Hillsborough. That's how it was. Sheffield Wednesday were a Premier League team. They were a big side.
A little story which you think is unreal like that. At Chelsea, Stamford, they put electric fences in there.
What's it? What?
So electric fences. So
what would zap you?
Yeah, if you climbed onto the fence, it would zap you to stop you getting on the pitch. Chelsea done that.
That's unbelievable. Is this on that programme?
Well, I don't know. I think that it's in the 70s at the moment.
Electric fences for football fans, mate. Honestly, today they'd be outraged.
Oh my word!
So, you know what I mean? If you try to get on the pitch,
it's quite clever though. It's quite.
But do you know what? Arsenal were one of the only teams that never had fences.
Yeah.
One of the Tottenham had a fence, Chelsea had a fence. All like these, they put fences all around.
Couldn't you see through at Highbury? Couldn't you see through the dressing room, the windows?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the dressing
did you ever have a little peek in?
It was out on Avenue Road,
yeah. The players used to
hang out the window.
Things like that.
Yeah. So the entrance, where the players used to go in, obviously the marble halls and stuff like that. Highbury's a magical stadium. Yeah. So you've never been to?
Never been to
Highbury. So that's the thing, you know what I mean, the era of.
And that's why I feel rude sitting here with you both. Genuinely.
No, it's just
Because
the way it is, isn't it? It's the way it is.
Yeah, but I wish I could see that, and I almost feel like guilty to sort of claim that I'm a proper Arsenal fan when I never saw proper Arsenal.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, your age, it's not your, that's not your fault. It's, you know, sometimes maybe my outlook on football, obviously football's changed a lot since I remember first watching it. You know, it's like going on about, sometimes you feel, it was like Anfield 88, 89, going on about that. For me as a kid when I watched that, that's what really turned me into,
that's the one
like solidified. I remember watching that on a Friday night as a kid, and I must have watched that game, I don't know, as in my life probably 100 times over. I mean, as a kid, that VHS cassette got put on most days, sometimes twice a day. Just watching that game, I was just like, it was brilliant. You know, I was just in awe of, I still am in awe of Arsenal Football Club. You know, so interesting. I'm going to quickly come on to Sunday, 2:00 at the Carpet. Palace are coming to town. They've got to break the wall down. How do you guys see this?
I think it's so important we get the first goal, because I think that if we get the first goal, we will win the game.
Yeah.
And I'd actually make an early prediction that every single game this season that we go 1-0 up, we do not drop a single point.
Yeah.
Because we have that ability to do that.
Yeah.
So I think I'd like to see us. Arteta's all about control now, isn't he?
Yeah.
Which is great. But I do miss coming out the blocks firing.
Yeah.
From minute one. I'd like to see an early goal.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see us win the game 2-0.
Okay. Lee.
Listen, I don't know about you, but I'll be more nervous Sunday than I was on Tuesday.
100%.
But I'm with you. I think it'd be a tough game, but I think 2-0 as well. I think that you know, we can't underestimate them. I don't think we'll come out of the blocks. I think we'll control it.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, I think 2-0. Look, we can't underestimate them. Just like 2-0 shut out. Do you reckon they'll get shot on target?
Yeah, they will.
Palace are a very good team.
Yeah, they've got
look,
very good players.
You've got Sarr. Pino hasn't scored, but he's been fantastic.
They lost to Everton.
Wharton. I know they've got Wharton. They've got
good players, but at the end of the day, so have Arsenal.
Munoz, they play it how they play, almost inverted. They're going to probably play with a back five. Their goalkeeper Henderson's fantastic. You know, won them FA Cup. The only player out of that side they're missing is Eze. And on that note as well, guys, please check out the box to box that I've done with Rich, Palace fan. Absolutely phenomenal guy. If you want to know a bit of a preview about Crystal Palace and the game upcoming, gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure.
I enjoyed that.
Thank you, Matt, for making your debut.
Thank you, boys.
Straight out the youth team into the Invincibles podcast. And Lee, Mr. Lee Judges, as always.
I enjoyed that today.
Absolutely legend. Thank you. And listen, guys, I hope you've enjoyed it. Please let us know in the comments. I'm sure you will. Please please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And please check out the rest of AFTV's content, as I mentioned, box to box, Crystal Palace fan, all the inside stuff around Crystal Palace, previewing the game. We've got match previews, we've got starting 11, we've got a watch along on Sunday that my main man, Mr. Cecil G, is going to be hosting. We've got an absolutely awesome panel lined up for that. So stay tuned, get involved with AFTV, guys. And thanks once again for NordVPN providing the protection like Gabriel and Saliba do. Please, guys, get involved. The code, the link, you know it makes sense. Thank you very much for having us. I've been Marty. This has been AFTV. We've had Papa Pinkers, Mr. Lee Judges in the building. Marty from AFTV signing out.